Good morning, welcome to day 3 of BOARDom Busters. Today we are thinking about Sushi Go and have a bit of a fishy theme going on throughout everything we're doing today. So Sushi Go, we're just going to start as usual by explaining the game for today. This is the last game that you will be given. Tomorrow we will do a kind of roundup and encourage you to play all of the games that you've been given to see which one is your favourite. So this game is the rules are relatively simple. In fact, the rules are very simple. You simply get given a hand of cards. So I'm going to pretend I'm playing with 2 players, which means I get 10 cards. You might need to have a little look on the first page of the rule book, which tells you in the bottom corner how many cards you give people if you play with more, because the game plays up to 5. Again, though, this is the kind of game, it says it plays up to 5. There isn't any reason if you have 6 people why you can't just deal out more cards to 6 players. It'll perhaps be a slightly longer game, but there's no real issue with doing that. So have a look, see how many players you've got, see how many cards you need. Take a look at the cards. They are all different types of sushi. So we have dumplings, we have squid nigiri, we have wasabi, which is pretty hot. Have a look at those. Pick the one you like the look of most. They all score you points in different ways, but we'll come on to that later. The basic rule is simply look at them, have a look at the one you fancy. I'm going to take this one, and then play it. By playing it, you just put it down in front of you. You just show everybody which card you've chosen. Pass all of the other cards to the person on your left, and then the person on your right will be passing you cards, and so you take them. You have a look, you pick another card, and you play it. You pass it left, person to your right gives you a pile, you have a look at it, you pick one, you play it. It is that simple. Now, there are some exceptions. One exception is chopsticks. Chopsticks, you do the same thing. You pick it up, you play it in front of you. But most of the other cards just give you points in different ways. They give you points at the end of the game, at the end of the round. Chopsticks give you a special power in the middle of the round. You can, if you have chopsticks in front of you, and you ever fancy taking 2 cards instead of 1 when somebody passes you them, you put the chopsticks back into the hand of cards, and you choose the 2 cards you want to take instead of 1. So the actual bottom of the chopsticks card says swap for 2. It means that you can take this card, put it back in your hand, and take out 2 instead. Okay, so that's all you do. Have a look at your cards, pick one, play it, end of the round, it'll score you points. Game takes place over 3 different rounds. Let's just have a little look, if we can, at what these cards do, how they score points. So an explanation of how they score points is in the rule book. It's about halfway through. It's where it starts turning into purple instead of green. It says scoring, but let's just go through them. So first of all, lights isn't great here today, is it? Sashimi, you can just about see that. Sashimi says it is worth 3 points. Sorry, it's worth 10 points if you have 3 of them. So if you collect 1 sashimi, it's worth nothing. If you collect 2 sashimi, it's worth nothing. But if you manage to get a full set of 3 sashimi, you get 10 points. If you're very lucky and get 6 sashimi, it becomes worth 20 points. But 5 sashimi is still only worth 10. It's only multiples of 3 will get you the points. Next one we can look at is nigiri. Nigiri is the simplest one to understand. It comes in 3 types. We have egg, salmon, and squid. So egg, salmon, and squid. These say on the very bottom how many points they're worth. You don't need to collect them. There's nothing else special about them. It is simply squid are worth 3, a salmon are worth 2, egg are worth 1. Next one to look at is tempura. Tempura we'll put on with the sashimi because it's the same idea. But this time you just need to collect 2 of them and you get 5 points. Dumplings, you're trying to collect these as well. One of them is worth 1 point. It says on the bottom of the card. If you have 2, you get 3 points, all the way up to if you have 5 of them, you get 15 points. If somebody looks like they are collecting lots of dumplings and dumplings come your way, you want to snatch them out of that hand before somebody who's collecting them can get them, because they can become worth lots of points. Next one is maki rolls. Maki rolls all have numbers, have a number of maki rolls at the top. At the end of the round, you count up how many maki rolls you've collected. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you have more maki rolls than anyone else at the end of the round, you score 6 points. If you have second most, you score 3 points. There's just 2 more cards, 2 more types of cards. One is wasabi. Wasabi says at the bottom, next nigiri times 3. Wasabi by itself is not worth any points, but if you play a wasabi on your turn, then the next time you play a nigiri, that nigiri, you put it on top so you remember, and that nigiri becomes worth 3 times the amount. So now my squid nigiri is worth 9 points. That's a lot. And the very last card is puddings. So at the end of the round, you count all of the points that you've got. You then throw these cards away. Not like actually in the bin, that would be silly. You put them in a discard pile. You're not going to use those again, unless you run out of cards and you need to kind of shuffle them in the deck again. But you're probably not going to use those again, so you just put those to one side. Puddings are the exception. You keep your pudding until the end of the game. Remember, the game happens over 3 rounds. So you count up how many points you've got in the first round, you make a note of that somewhere, you write it down, you keep hold of your puddings, because at the end of the game, the person who has collected the most puddings gets 6 points. The person who has collected the least gets minus 6 points. So that can be quite a big swing. So that is Sushi Go. If all of the scoring doesn't immediately make sense, don't worry. Once you start playing, and you might have to use a rule book just to remind you exactly what those numbers at the bottom of the cards mean, but once you start playing, once you start scoring, it will all start to make sense. The key thing for the actual game is really simple. You have your hand of cards, you pick, you play it in front of you so everyone can see it, you pass them, you take on the cards from somebody else, you have a look, you pick one you like the look of, you play it, you hope you score the most points at the end of the round, you hope that you do that enough to score the most points at the end of the game. So that is everything. That's our last actually how to play. Don't forget though that we are here all day. We enjoy seeing your pictures of what you've been doing. We enjoy hearing about how you've been playing, but also we are very happy to answer any questions that you've got. So if anything doesn't make complete sense in the game, please do get in touch with us. Thank you.